Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another episode of Turn Your Lights On. I'm your host Emily, and as always, I have a new case for you guys this week. Now this week's case is one that the verdict went back and forth numerous times as to whether or not it was a homicide or a suicide. To many, the signs were clear from the get-go what the verdict should have been all along. However, I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. As always, the comments are open, and I would love to hear what you guys think. But this case is one that will really make you put your thinking cap on. It does get a little chilling, so my advice would be to turn your lights on. Before we hop into today's case, I just want to give a disclaimer that this case does dive into mental health struggles and discusses topics such as suicide. Just a little disclaimer before we jump in. And for this case, I want to start at the very beginning, which is on January 26th, 2011. Around 4:50 to 5:27 p.m., Ellen Greenberg had passed away at just 27 years old in her apartment in Philadelphia, an apartment that she shared with her fiancé, Sam Goldberg. Now, the time frame that was configured by investigators about the time of Ellen's death was crucial to the investigation of the case. This was because this time frame had been given to authorities by Sam. Sam told authorities that he had left his apartment around 4:50 p.m. for the gym, and at that point in time, he said that Ellen was still alive. But by the time that he returned from the gym, Ellen had numerous stab wounds and was no longer breathing. In footage from their apartment complex, Sam was seen returning from the gym, going back down the elevator to the main desk, going up to their apartment, back down to the desk, and up to their apartment one final time before breaking the door to their apartment down. And this is where he found his fiancée lifeless in their apartment. Sam had gone back and forth between the apartment and the front desk in hopes that someone would let him in. He had locked himself out of the apartment, and the front desk was unable to let him in. He proceeded to text Ellen and call her numerous times, but she had not answered her phone. Sam grew agitated and possibly even worried about his fiancée, and around 30 minutes after trying to get into his apartment, he made the executive decision to break the door down. Sam immediately called the police, and I want you guys to listen to this 911 call.
I just walked into my apartment. My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere.
What is the address?
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please come help now.
4601
Flat Rock Road.
Is it the house or apartment?
Oh no. Oh no. It's an apartment.
What apartment number?
Please hurry, please.
Where is she bleeding from?
I don't know. I can't tell.
No, so you have to calm yourself down in order to get you some help.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm looking at her right now. I can't see anything. There's nothing broken. She's bleeding. Ellie!
You don't know where she's bleeding from? Can't see where the blood's coming from?
I think her head. I think she hit her head, But it's everywhere.
Okay,
it's everywhere.
She might have fallen. Do you know what happened?
She may have slipped. There's blood on the table. Her face is a little purple.
Okay, hold on for rescue for her. Stay on the phone.
Fire Department 842. What's the address? No,
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please hurry.
4601 Flat Rock?
Yes.
What's wrong?
I went downstairs to go work out. I came back up. The door was latched. My fiance's inside. She wasn't answering. So after about a half hour, I decided to break it down. I see her now just on the floor with blood. She's not responding.
Okay, is she breathing? Look at her chest. I need you to calm down, and I need you to look at her chest. It's really.
I really don't think she is.
Listen to me. Someone's on the way. Look at her chest. Is she flat on her back?
She's on her back. So
okay, look at her chest and tell me if it's going up and down, up and down.
I don't see her moving.
Okay, do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay, I can tell you what to do, okay, until they get there. I want you to keep her flat on her...
God.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, okay.
Willing to do CPR with me over the phone so they can...
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off. Okay? Kneel down by her side.
Oh, my God. Allie, please.
Listen, you can't freak out, sir, because you...
Okay, I'm trying not to. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God, she stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife. Oh, no, her knife's sticking out.
What?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
Oh, she stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Okay, well, don't touch it.
Okay, so I just let her here now. I mean, what do I do?
No, I mean, you can't. If the knife is at her chest, it's going to be kind of hard for you to do CPR at this time.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Police, which operator?
277.
Is someone coming here?
Yes, they are. You said 4601 Flat Rock, right?
Yes.
Okay, someone's on the way. And the knife is still inside?
Wait, so what?
The knife is still inside of her?
Yes, I didn't take it out.
Is it her chest or what area?
It's in her chest. It looks like it's right in her heart.
Okay, someone's on the way out there, okay? Just get
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Okay.
How old is she?
She's 27.
27. And there's no sign of life at all? Like, been turned to her arm.
No, please don't be. What?
Been turned to her arm and tell me if she responds to pain.
Ellie. She's not. Her arm, her hands are still warm. I don't know what that means, but there's blood everywhere.
I know, but you can't, and the knife is still inside of her. How far? Can you see how far it went in?
It looks pretty deep.
Okay.
It looks it's a long knife.
Don't touch anything.
Yeah, don't touch anything, okay?
I'm not touching anything. I can't believe this, though.
So wait, it was just you there with her?
We're the only ones here.
And she ran in the door, you said latched it shut?
No, I went downstairs to work out, and when I came back up, the door was latched.
Oh.
Like it was, it wasn't like it was, it was like locked from the inside, and I'm yelling, so I'm
Was your
yelling
house
and
broken into?
No.
So there's no sign of a break-in?
No sign of a break-in at all. I mean, there will be when you get here, because I had to break the latch, but to get in.
Okay, 4601 Flat Rock, and this is a house, right?
It's an apartment. Flat Rock apartment.
Okay, that's a house.
Oh my God. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sam called 911 and the dispatcher asked him to take her shirt off to see if Ellen was breathing. Quickly, he was able to acknowledge that Ellen was definitely no longer breathing and that there was a knife sticking out of her heart. Dispatch immediately sent police to the apartment. However, there wasn't an investigation to follow after authorities had seen the crime scene. Sam insisted that Ellen had had some mental health struggles in the past, and he was adamant that what had taken place in their apartment was a suicide. Right there on the spot, police sided with Sam and decided that there was no need for an investigation. Many friends and family surrounding Ellen vouched for the fact that she did in fact have mental health difficulties, but knew she was seeking help. Ellen's parents and some of her closest friends had even suggested that they were seeing great strides in Ellen after meeting with a therapist on numerous occasions. So why would she do something so rash and on a whim when she had been seemingly getting better? I want to put a little pause in the timeline to spill some facts on you guys, and then we'll hop back into it. To go with Sam's idea that Ellen had harmed herself, I wanted to discuss a little bit of Ellen's background with mental health. In the documentary, Death in Apartment 603, What Happened to Ellen Greenberg, many of Ellen's friends and family attest to her struggles. Her father even talks about how she was struggling at work and that she had mentioned the idea of moving home to him and her mother. However, Ellen's father wanted to do right by his daughter and wanted to make sure she was okay and that this was something she really wanted before making such a life-altering decision. He asked her to see a therapist and to make sure she was in the right headspace and was 100% sure coming home was what she wanted before she decided to do so. Especially considering it was in the middle of the school year and seeing as Ellen was a teacher, this would almost definitely harm her reputation. to which Ellen did decide to see a doctor, and everyone around her said that she had some struggles with finding an anxiety medication that was right for her in the beginning. But once finding what prescription worked for her, they started to see Ellen's spark come back. The once bubbly and energetic Ellen was slowly starting to emerge again. However, one of Ellen's closest friends noticed that even though both her and Ellen were engaged at the same time, Ellen didn't seem nearly as excited as she was to take the next steps in her relationship. And another close friend of Ellen's noticed that she no longer had been wearing her engagement ring, and every time it was brought up in conversation, Ellen often made excuses and quickly dismissed the topic. Another reason for authorities to believe that it could have been a result of Ellen harming herself was that Sam had been locked out of the apartment. The door latch had been locked, so Sam could not have locked it on his way out. However, the apartment manager at the time said that she had locked the door latch on occasion by shutting the door too hard. She did say it was a very rare occurrence, but it could happen. It was also made apparent that there was no sign of forced entry to the apartment. Now, with this information, it may seem as though Ellen harming herself could be a strong possibility, but the evidence dismantling this thought is much greater. When Ellen was found in her apartment, she was on the ground with her back against the kitchen cabinets. However, the way the blood had dripped down her face had gone across her face as opposed to straight down. Ellen had also been stabbed approximately 20 times with many wounds to the top of her head, the back of her neck, and her back. One of the investigators on the case had stated that she had been a part of many investigations, but never once had seen someone stab themselves in the back. When Ellen's body was medically examined, they noticed that there was no hemorrhaging around the wound on her back, insinuating that Ellen was actually stabbed in the back after she had died. The medical examiner had also found approximately 11 bruises on Ellen's body that had been in different phases of the healing process. Another thing that investigators had brought up is on the day that Ellen had passed, the school that she was teaching at had been shut down due to weather, and on her way home at 1:26 p.m., she stopped and filled her gas tank. They played around with the thought that if Ellen had planned on harming herself, why would she fill her gas tank before doing so? And again, the fact that at this point in time, Ellen had told her parents she was strongly considering moving back with them, and that her friends noticed she was no longer wearing her engagement ring. To many, it had also seemed obvious that Sam would have immediately noticed a knife sticking out of Ellen's chest, but according to his 911 call, he hadn't noticed until he tried unzipping her sweatshirt to see if she was breathing.
Shirt won't come off, it's a zipper. Oh my God, she stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife. Oh no, her knife's sticking out.
What?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
All of these things raised red flags immediately. However, in the medical examiner's report, there was information stating that Sam had been escorted by the building's security guard to their apartment when he had found Ellen. And this information was crucial to the examiner in determining that Ellen had in fact harmed herself. But with all this information, Ellen's close friends and family didn't stop fighting for her. So let's hop back into our timeline. Less than 24 hours after Ellen had passed, Sam had reached out to the apartment complex and asked if he could have access to the apartment so he could gather some necessities. The apartment manager then reached out to authorities to make sure that it was okay. Seeing as though they declared Ellen's death a suicide, there was no active investigation, and they gave the go-ahead for the apartment manager to let Sam and his family into the apartment. However, authorities did recommend that the apartment be cleaned by professional crime scene cleaners before, so that Sam and his family didn't have to see the apartment in such a gory way. So now, not only do we not have an investigation, but we have an apartment that has been cleaned by professional crime scene cleaners. However, what Sam's family takes is more than just the necessities. Sam's uncle, who just so happens to be a lawyer, decided to accompany Sam, and he retrieved Ellen's electronic devices as well. And regardless of all the evidence that we see, at this time, the case has still been documented by authorities as a suicide. So I want to jump to 2019 when investigators on the Greenberg family's side really begin to push for justice in this case. Investigators request the apartment surveillance footage from the day of Ellen's death, to which authorities originally claimed that there is none. But how is there no footage in a fully surveillance apartment complex? This is where they really start to push, and miraculously, the surveillance suddenly becomes available after investigators threaten to get a judge involved to mandate these tapes be handed over to them. And this video becomes crucial to the case because in the medical examiner records, it states that Sam had been escorted to the apartment by the building's security guard when he broke down the door and found Ellen. However, the footage completely discredits this report. Sam had not been escorted by the security guard, Phil Hanton, but Phil had actually escorted the first responders to the apartment once they arrived. And again, now that we know that Sam actually hadn't been escorted by Phil to the apartment and the medical examiner's report had this false claim, it was apparent that the ruling of this being self-induced harm may not have been the truth at all. Now we fall into this big issue. These investigators weren't the first ones to view this footage. The police were. And why exactly hadn't they noticed that Sam wasn't escorted to the apartment in the first place? This is where Dr. Osborne and others working on the case originally were questioned during a deposition. Dr. Osborne claimed that before this meeting with those on the Philadelphia force, he had not made a full concluded decision on the death of Ellen on whether or not it was suicide or homicide. However, before this meeting, Dr. Osborne had indicated that he believed Ellen's death to be a homicide. So even though we don't have full transparency of who was in the meeting and what occurred during this meeting because no proper notes were taken, Dr. Osborne's decision on the case had changed. And he claimed at the time of the autopsy, he truly believed that it was a homicide. Yet after this meeting, his decision had changed. But he claims that the meeting did not directly change his view on the case, which already gives us a tailwind of a case to begin with. But the questioning doesn't stop at that. The next one to be questioned is Dr. Emery about the spinal cord injury that had been found on Ellen. Again, in the documentary, Dr. Emery makes the statement that there were 3 conclusions as to what had happened regarding this injury. And in these conclusions, there were 2 possibilities. 1, that the injury made Ellen numb and not able to feel the pain she was inflicting on herself or that was being inflicted upon her. And the other 2 being that this injury occurred after she had passed. But again, A, how could Ellen stab herself after she had passed? Or if she was stabbed after she had passed, who inflicted this wound upon her? The thought of this wound also possibly being inflicted during the autopsy was brought into question as well. Now this is where everyone's attention was really spiked. Everyone's attention was drawn to the case that claimed to be self-harm, but miraculously had injuries endured possibly after the victim had passed. Headlines were made making very real and intense accusations against Philadelphia officials claiming that they were conspiring to hide this case. But why? And as of 2024, a conspiracy case was tried on February 3rd, and the Greenberg's team offered to make a deal with Osborne as long as he gave full transparency to the court. And Osborne had changed his determination, claiming that the case should have been decided as something other than suicide. And before the jury selection is made, during the civil case, authorities agree to reopen the case of Ellen Greenberg. And after approximately 3 months after the settlement, Ellen's case had still not been reevaluated. And sadly, Ellen's case was still being maintained by many officials to be a suicide. Sam has since moved on. He is remarried and went on to have children, and Ellen's case still has a lot of questions that remain unanswered. Ellen's parents and family still continue to fight for her justice, but there is a long list of uncertainties with her case, and these questions still run unanswered to this day. And that is the sad and unjust case of Ellen Greenberg. This case has so much information going both ways, but only one side had to hide truths to validate the decision that they made. And like all our victims, Ellen and her loved ones deserve answers, and I wish nothing more for them. This case is one that has had media coverage throughout all stages of the case, but I want to know what you guys think after hearing all the evidence. Unfortunately, that is all I have for you guys this week. Thank you for sticking with me through another case, and as always, I'll see you next week with another. Each week, I'll share another case with you, and we'll learn about them together. So make sure you turn your lights on.